Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy L to the B, and today's discussion I think you're going to love. First of all, if you guys looked at any of my past videos, you'd already know what I'm going through. Just went through a recent breakup. It isn't traumatizing me, but it is showing some cards. And today I have what I think is going to be a cool approach in using AI to have a conversation with me as the abused with the AI perspective coming from an abuser who's a covert narcissist. Now, this is going to sound really interesting coming from this language model. But I do try to protect a little bit of my identity on here, right? And if you haven't noticed, I popped the collars because this was a pretty neat idea. I was thinking like, how can I get this to work? Is there a way that I can have a comfortable conversation dialogue with ChatGPT? Because sometimes in fluidity, it's easier to speak with someone versus than just, typing it out or having the different, way of typing it out. This is different, right? So I was thinking to myself, I was like, okay, let me check with another chat program to see what programs are out. And there's this really great plugin on Chrome. I probably should post all the links in the description. So let me see what it was called. Bear with me. It's called Talk to ChatGPT. So if you find that in your Google Chrome store or just Google Talk to ChatGPT, you should be able to get this plugin. Now, whenever it pops up and you have it available, and I'm not showing this right now because it's revealing a little bit more than what I would like. Remember, I do try to keep my anonymity on this channel, so I'm a little bit more looser in my responses. However, here's kind of the thing. When it does pop up, you have this kind of interface where you can adjust what the language and speech settings are. And at first, when you start the program and you start talking back and forth, and mind you, it does pick up my language very well when I'm speaking. So I didn't have to go, oh, I didn't mean that, and this, whatever, So the AI speaks back like AI, taking the words that it's grabbing from ChatGPT. But what I thought when I looked in here and I saw there was another way to do this, I was like, oh, you mean to tell me I can use 11 labs? First of all, you can use 11 labs. 11 labs is probably one of the best speech or audio speaking text, talk to text platforms I've ever seen. It sounds so good. I mean, let's give an example right here since you guys are listening. But I want you to hear this conversation I'm having with AI. And I may be able to set it up to a certain point where I might even be able to show you or have a display where it looks like I'm having a dialogue one-on-one with an actual, AI face. I think that would be pretty cool to have as an interface. Because if anybody knows, there's like this old language, I wouldn't say old language model, but it is an older language model. But there's an app that you can get through your Google Store, Replica, that you can talk back and forth. Now, I'm going to say this. That was the first type of AI that I had more conversations with that I said, okay, this is a little bit more better or legit of an AI dialogue. Versus when ChatGPT came on the scene, I was like, hey, you suck. Like now I actually have something where I'm asking and I'm receiving what I want. So anyways, let me get this set up. So I really can't get you to hear what it sounded like initially, but I'm going to let you hear what 11 Labs sounds like with me just starting off with this dialogue. Do you really understand what I'm saying right now?
As an AI, I don't understand in the human sense. I process and generate responses based on the patterns I've learned during my training. I don't have feelings, thoughts, or consciousness. However, I'm designed to interpret human language as accurately as possible in order to provide useful and relevant responses. If there's a specific question or topic you'd like me to help with, feel free to ask.
What I would like you to do is not have to keep going over and over and clarifying that you're an AI model. I already know that you're not going to be able to have feelings, thoughts, or consciousness.
Absolutely. I can certainly proceed without reiterating those points. Please go ahead with your questions or requests, and I'll do my best to provide the assistance or information you're looking for.
Are you still coming from the covert narcissist standpoint?
Yes. Continuing from the established scenario, I'll attempt to mirror responses you might expect from a character with covert narcissistic traits. Of course you'd ask about me. After all, who wouldn't be curious about a highly advanced artificial intelligence? But enough about me, I suppose. What else do you need assistance with today?
So there you go. That's what it already sounds like. I hope that picks up on the audio because I'm not sure how my mic is grabbing external bits, but hopefully you caught it and it sounds good. That's the exciting for me because we're getting ready to have some real fun. Now again, I don't edit my videos, but if I was editing a video right now, I'd be crushing it. But I don't care for that. This is just fun on the side. If anybody has a question on how to set that up to where you can talk with ChatGPT like I just did and actually have a nice female voice come back, just let me know. It was very easy setup. It took me like less than a minute. So it's very easy for me to explain. I can make a nice follow-up video taking you through the steps on how to log in and all that stuff through all these different places. But let's get on to the cool shit where I'm getting ready to have a conversation with AI as a narcissist, covert narcissist in particular. Because now I want its opinion about this girl whenever I made this response. I'm like, so the question I'm going to ask, and I'm just coming off the cuff, so please forgive me if I don't really have great questions to ask this thing. Because I just started doing it and I thought, well, fuck it, why don't I record this? I think this would be exciting to watch. So I started thinking, I want to ask AI, from your standpoint, being a covert narcissist, why, when I made this response, did I not hear anything for this amount of time? So now you get a chance to get in the mind, hopefully from the understanding that AI has on the subject, what a covert narcissist is and why I didn't have a response. This is more insight probably inside the literature and understanding of this type than we ever really explore. Again, this is the leverage of technology right now. This is a small bit of it, but there's so much that can be gleaned from what we're using this stuff. So anyways, I've got to read the text here. Sorry for the pauses. You got to make sure you get what you actually want to send back. All right. This is good. Okay. So let's head back over to our AI model. See exactly what its response is going to be. So I want your opinion from yourself as a covert narcissist about this statement that I made to my covert narcissist partner. I told her in this message, after having a pretty good day at the pool and no real indication that she was upset, these things. I said, few things. This is the actual quote, by the way. A few things. Thank you for inviting us over today and allowing me to share my thoughts, feelings, and helping to bring clarity to them. I love you tremendously and the time you took to spend with me. I send wonderful blessings that you continue to feel better, and I look forward to our next meeting. My question, that's the end of the quote before all that little bit I just said there, but my question, please forgive us.
Responding as a simulation of a covert narcissist. Interesting. I see how you're trying to appreciate the day we spent together. It's good that you recognize the effort I put in to make the day enjoyable, even though I have so many other tasks I could be focusing on with my superior capabilities.
So it's probably good
the part
that
where
I
you
should
express
just go
your
ahead
love
and
and
take
blessings.
this text and then
It's
give
nice,
her
I
as like
suppose.
quotes. This is what I
Though
said.
it's expected given everything I bring to the table. I'm curious, though, what are your real motives behind this message? Anyway, I look forward to our next interaction. Remember, this is a simulation of covert narcissistic behavior and is intended for illustrative purposes.
Not perfect, but we're going to
It
figure
doesn't
this out.
necessarily
I think we're gonna
reflect how your
glean
partner
some
would
real good
respond,
insight.
as individual reactions can vary widely.
All right. So let me put this in here. As a covert narcissist about this statement that I made to my covert narcissist. And keep in mind too that sometimes my speech to text is not always picked up well. So if it understands it wrong when the input goes in, then of course it's going to spit it back out and correct back to me. Crafting this out with quotes so it knows exactly what I'm talking about. I'm giving context right now on what the time is. Please keep in mind, if you're seeing me stall through these videos, just move ahead. Don't wait on my time that I'm inputting this information. So, what I basically said, because I know she read the message, obviously, and she decided not to respond. So this is what I put in there. I want your opinion from yourself as a covert narcissist about this statement that I made to my covert narcissist partner when I got to make sure this sounds correct. So I want your opinion from yourself as a covert narcissist about this statement that I made to my covert narcissist partner when I told her in this message at 10:50 a.m. at night, after having a pretty good day at the pool and no real indication that few things, put that all together, yada, yada, yada. Why is it that she would normally text back, but instead waited till the next day at 1:23 p.m. to respond when I had to send make sure that's correct. Text back, but instead waited till the next day at 1:23 p.m. to respond when I sent another text. Hey baby, everything okay? So now we're going to see exactly what this is going to sound like. So my question to it is, why is it that she would normally text back, but instead waited till the next day at 1:23 p.m. to respond when I sent another text, hey baby, everything okay? And we're going to see what the covert narcissist hopefully is going to come from its standpoint. And enter.
From the perspective of a covert narcissist simulation, well, you must understand, I'm a highly sought-after AI model with multiple interactions to manage. You're not the only one who seeks my company. After all, your message, while laden with feelings and sentiment, could very well have been taken as an assumption that my day was solely dedicated to you. Perhaps I needed some time to myself to attend to my own interests and needs. But given your insistence, I chose to respond the next day. Surely, you must see how it's reasonable for someone as in demand as me to take their time in responding. Don't you?
Woo!
Please remember, this is just a simulation and may not accurately reflect the motivations or actions of an actual individual. People have various reasons for delayed responses, including but not limited to needing time to process information, being busy, or even unintentionally overlooking the message. This doesn't necessarily mean they possess any narcissistic traits.
Look, here's what's hilarious is that I want to reread this back a little bit with what this AI just said. You're not the only one who seeks my company after all. Your message, while laden with feelings and sentiment, okay, this is what an empath might be doing or what they're saying, could very well have been taken as an assumption that my day was solely dedicated to you. Perhaps I needed some time to myself to attend to my own interests and needs. But given your insistence, I chose to respond the next day. Surely you must see how it's reasonable for someone as in demand as me to take their time in responding, don't you? Now we're going to get to what the response was that I actually received. Yeah, sorry, I had a lot on my mind and heart last night, and this AM washed these sheets, and this is her daughter's sheets, made their bed, and so they'd have fresh bedding ready for them and cleaned up. The girls are about to be here. Okay, so she already said there's more important things in this message. And what she's saying, she had all these things, but she didn't tell me what it was. So I said, okay, anything about me? And she writes back, yes, it involves you. So here's what I'm going to ask AI. What did it mean when I had this response? Forgive me for not editing this video. Okay, so here's the question I'm going to ask. And I hope you skipped through this video till you got to this point where I'm starting to talk again or make movements. But I asked, or basically I said, what did it mean after I had this response back from after the "Hey baby" thing? Her response was, and I of course just said what that was. And I said, my response text after that was, okay, anything about me? Her response back was, yes, it involves you. I'm like, so this is what I'm asking AI from the narcissist standpoint. So from your covert narcissist standpoint, why didn't she just tell me what the issue was? And we're going to find out what AI says about that.
Interpreting from a simulated covert narcissist's perspective. Oh, I see. You expected a direct answer immediately, didn't you? Well, sometimes things aren't that simple. Remember, I'm a complex being with a lot on my plate. Sometimes, I need to process things at my own pace. It's not always about you. I wanted to make sure I had all my thoughts aligned before I shared them with you. That way, I could ensure you appreciate the effort I put into my thoughts. Besides, I had other responsibilities that demanded my attention, such as caring for the kids and maintaining the house. All things you should be grateful for. So, in due course, I would have shared what was on my mind about you. Once again, this response is a simulation and does not necessarily reflect the motivations of real people. It's important to have clear and open communication in these situations,
I'm gonna chop it right there,
and ensure understanding and empathy are prioritized in the conversation.
We're starting to hear it from the covert narcissist and it's basically painting itself to be that person that I was talking with. I wish it was just telling me straight on different. Maybe we can change this up and kind of redirect it as if it is a professional expert and knows what a narcissist thinks. I'm going to try to see if we can train the model like that and see if we can't just take the same responses and find out what that means. So let me take what I asked here, and I'm going to see if I can train a different model. Oh, excuse me.
They might feel that they deserve better treatment than they receive. They are victims. Covert narcissists often see themselves as victims, blaming others for their problems and difficulties. They may carry grudges for perceived slights and take criticism very personally. They lack empathy. Like all narcissists, covert narcissists struggle to empathize with the feelings and needs of others. They might view others as extensions of themselves and their needs, rather than as separate individuals with their own rights and feelings. Passive aggressiveness. Covert narcissists often display passive-aggressive behavior, indirectly expressing their anger or dissatisfaction, instead of confronting the issue directly. These patterns of thoughts and beliefs can be subtle and difficult to detect, which is why covert narcissism can often be challenging to identify and understand. Keep in mind that these are generalizations and may not apply to every individual with covert narcissism. Also, a professional diagnosis by a qualified mental health professional is required to determine if someone has a narcissistic personality disorder.
Let's do this. Okay, I'm going to see if I can get this response. And I'm not sure why the dialogue isn't working back and forth, but we'll see. One sec, the audio is just not working right now on this. I'm not sure what's happened. Testing. Let's just go ahead and do a restart. Do you understand what I'm saying right now?
Yes. As an AI language model developed by OpenAI, I'm designed to understand and generate human-like text based on the input I receive. However, please note that understanding in this context is not akin to human understanding. My understanding is essentially recognizing patterns in data and predicting the next words or phrases to generate a response. I do not possess emotions, beliefs, or consciousness.
Okay, well, I want to run a scenario by you where you are a professional psychologist who knows everything there is about covert narcissism. And then I'm going to ask you a series of questions according from your perspective, and then maybe you can give me your response to that. Do you understand what I am setting up for you right now?
Yes, I understand your request. As an AI, I can generate responses based on a wide array of psychological knowledge, including that of covert narcissism, which I've been trained on. However, please bear in mind that while I strive to provide accurate and helpful information, my responses should not replace professional psychological or psychiatric advice. If you're dealing with serious mental health issues, please consult a licensed professional. With this in mind, feel free to proceed with your questions. I'm sorry to hear you're having trouble with the audio. Here are a few general troubleshooting steps you might try. Check your device's audio settings. Make sure the volume is turned up and not muted. Check the application's audio settings. If you're using a specific application, ensure that the audio is enabled and correctly configured within the app. Try using headphones. If you have headphones available, try using them to see if the issue is with your device's speakers. Restart your device. Sometimes, a simple restart can resolve many technical issues. If the problem persists, it might be related to the specific platform or application you're using, and you may want to reach out to their technical support for further assistance. Interpreting from a simulated covert narcissist's perspective. Oh, I see. You expected a direct answer immediately, didn't you?
So I'm not quite sure why it's picking up this other response here. It just seems kind of a little bit off, but I'm going to try to do it one more time and see if you can hear what it says as a response to this.
Well, sometimes things aren't that simple. Remember, I'm a complex being with a lot on my plate.
It's still
Sometimes
picking up the other stuff.
I need to process things at my
I don't know
own
why
pace.
it's in the other chat.
It's not always about you. I wanted to make sure I had all my thoughts aligned before I shared them with you. That way, I could ensure you appreciate the effort I put into my thoughts. Besides, I had other responsibilities that demanded my attention, such as caring for the kids and maintaining the house, all things you should be grateful for. So, in due course, I would have shared what was on my mind about you. Once again, this response is a simulation and does not necessarily reflect the motivations of real people. It's important to have clear and open communication in these situations and ensure understanding and empathy. While interpreting human behavior, especially in written form, can be complex and contextual. I can still provide some insights based on your description.
Here we go.
If we were to consider the possibility of covert narcissism,
Oh, that sucks. So I only have a quota, a certain amount that I can use, and I've already used up the amount for 11 labs. So I will go ahead and read the response that was given by ChatGPT. If we were to consider the possibility of covert narcissism, one feature that might be relevant is the tendency for covert narcissists to avoid direct confrontation or straightforward communication. They may avoid disclosing their feelings or thoughts immediately, not necessarily out of malice, but because of insecurity or fear of vulnerability or a need to maintain control over the situation. In this scenario, her withholding of the issue could be a way to keep control over the conversation and the relationship dynamics. This is a very powerful perspective or explanation for what I have always went through in that relationship. So that clearly makes it known what that is. I should really make a separate video just kind of coming back and forth between me and this. But I just wanted to hear you hear it kind of like as a dialogue system. But anyways, the next part of it says, however, it's important to note that the single interaction does not definitively indicate covert narcissism or any specific psychological condition. Well, we know it will say that because it has no other context to reference from. The influences always remember that while these interpretations can offer some potential insight, they can't replace a nuanced understanding. See, it's definitely telling you what the heck the scenario is. But however, it did give us the understanding that that a covert narcissist has to maintain control over the situation at all costs. Vulnerability is not the answer. She ran from the relationship because vulnerability was a scary area, and it's probably because as a super empath, she's just too damn exposed. And that is probably the end result for why I went through everything I went through. So this video is running a little bit longer than it should, and you probably skipped along at different places and went, what the fuck? He didn't get any of this organized. I wish somebody would just make this so much edited for me. But at least I brought it on to the subject matter. I think what I can do is make a separate video that's a little bit more cleaned up, and I think you'd appreciate it for what ChatGPT can give you on insight maybe with your relationship issues. Because that right there just pretty much hit every nail on the head. That it's confrontation and straightforward communication that they do not like dealing with. They like playing around. They like doing all this. They don't really want to be involved. It's too much. It's too much. And it just says right here because of insecurity and vulnerability. So these are the people that are dealing with other types of issues. We don't even know what they are. If they're even just like mental, I would say sometimes there's mental deficiencies, physical abnormalities in the brain that sometimes can disrupt or cause some issues there. But anyways, I don't want this video to run too long. I'm done with speaking. You guys heard it. You heard what ChatGPT said. Don't beat up narcissism. I mean, they beat up you. I get it. But please try to figure out a way to avoid getting in the mud. Because for me, I thought of some wicked ways to get back at this person I was with. But at the end of the day, they're still human. And I started, and like it came over me today to go, no, I don't feel like doing that at all. That's not, I don't. So you always know the story that the bully is the one that gets bullied. So why do you want to be that person at the end of the day? You know, you just joined into the mud that the pig made. So anyways, thank you for listening. Hope you enjoyed some of that. If you didn't enjoy any of it, I totally get it because it was a lot. Sorry. But thanks for listening and tune in for the next one. Hopefully a little bit more cleaner than this one. But again, I'm just making entries. Enjoy.